Good morning, everyone. I'm Grant Cohn. That's Botond in Budapest, and we have some breaking news for you. This is kind of old news. Apparently, the Niners have settled their choices. Their finalists, Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Michael Lombardi said that weeks ago, but now everyone's saying it. Ian Rappaport, other people. And that means that Justin Fields is not going to be an option. Let's talk about Justin Fields first. First of all, Botond, great to see you. How are you?
Well, thanks. I'm glad to be here as always. Everything is all right. It's 7 p.m. here in Budapest. It's almost spring, but as long as there's no sunshine in the afternoon, we can't say that it's spring right now. But I'm excited. This is draft week. Your shirt is amazing, and we have a lot of more information about QBs.
Yeah, we do. Quality control. We got a little quality control action. These things just show up in my I'm sure the Niners gave it to me. I think this is a gift from the 49ers. So look, before we talk about the finalists, let's talk about the guy who got the axe. We're thinking about this as like The Bachelor. Mac Jones and Trey Lance got the rose. Justin Fields did not get the rose, at least according to these reports. Are you surprised? I think Niner fans are quite disappointed.
Nope, I'm not surprised. We have talked about it before that he doesn't have that the short release time, which Kai prefers on long throws. Well, some fans may be disappointed a bit, but all of those fans wanted to rip my head off weeks ago when I said that I don't like Justin Fields as a prospect because I have seen way more downsides with these rookie QBs coming to draft this year. And I'm not amazed when I'm talking about any one of them. So, well, Justin Fields is a great athlete, run a fantastic 40 yards dash, had a great season with the Ohio State, but I'm not convinced that he will be great in the NFL. Not yet.
Me neither. He might be very good, but I just never thought he'd be the kind of quarterback that Kyle Shanahan would like. I've been pretty steadfast on that. You could say that he's a good quarterback or he'd be a good fit on other teams, but I just don't think Kyle Shanahan would like him. And the thing that I keep coming back to with Fields, you got no question on his arm, no question on his athleticism, but the question is his judgment, his decision-making. He holds the ball a long time. He hesitates. These are, to me, Kyle Shanahan's biggest issues with Jimmy Garoppolo, and they've spent 4 years trying to improve him in this area in vain. They can't help him out. And so I think if Kyle Shanahan is moving on from Jimmy for those reasons, he's not going to be into bringing in a more athletic version of Jimmy Garoppolo, which is where I've always thought of Justin Fields.
Yeah, I do think that Justin Fields is a great quarterback right now. He could be an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo right now, but he has similarities with the similar issues that Jimmy has right now, and that's the problem. I do think that Kai doesn't want those issues anymore, and that's why I'm not surprised that he gets rid of these conversations about Justin Fields.
And Kyle could be wrong. Maybe Justin Fields is a good decision maker, and we're wrong. But that's the book on him right now. The question is his decision making, his hesitation. Holding the ball. He holds the ball like longer than 3 seconds of play. And that's a lot. You can't do that on the 49ers. So I feel like if Kyle's if he has like PTSD from the Jimmy Garoppolo experience, he's not going to go into business with Justin Fields, even if he's wrong and Justin Fields ends up being great. I never felt like that was a guy Kyle Shanahan would be enamored with. So I'm not surprised. This makes perfect sense to me. Although let's afford for the possibility that this is a bogus report and the Niners will shock everyone. I don't see it. I think Justin Fields is really out.
Yeah.
Melvin says Kyle Shanahan said he wanted the biggest, strongest, and fastest quarterback, Trey Lance. Let's talk about Mac Jones first. Mac Jones is one finalist, and according to reports, he's the one the Shanahans want. Mike and Kyle love Mac Jones. What are your thoughts?
Well, a lot of girls will also like Mac Jones because dead body is a trend right now. So that's why I do think that there will be some ladies who will like him as well. Yeah. Well, as I mentioned before, on a short-term deal, Mac Jones is the safest pick right now on the draft. But I don't see him as a future Hall of Famer. I don't think that he has that huge upside that, for example, people talked about when people talked about Eric Armstead. They said that the guy has a huge upside. I don't see that huge upside in Mac Jones, but he is the safest pick. He comes through under pressure. He came from Alabama. I don't like Alabama QBs at all, but he came from Alabama, and he proved himself that he can be a great pocket passer. He has a great release time, and I do think that Kyle appreciates that, but I don't think that he's a long-term solution for this 49ers offense.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be a terrible pick. I like Mac Jones more than Niner fans. I like Mac Jones more than Justin Fields. The thing with Justin Fields and the decision-making and the hesitation, that to me is scary because I don't think that's coachable. And at least Mac Jones doesn't have that problem, at least from what I see. So he seems like a real quarterback. That being said, the only person in the world who would trade up to number 3 for Mac Jones is Kyle Shanahan and his father. So it's not surprising. And I think it's interesting that all like the senior insiders in the league had this right away. The Niners don't leak, but does Mike Shanahan? I mean, Mike Shanahan has deeply rooted connections in the media. And it's like Mike Silver, known him for 30 years. Adam Schefter wrote his book. I mean, it seems like, I'm guessing, Mike Shanahan really wanted all of his friends in the media to know that Mac Jones is their preferred guy. It doesn't necessarily mean the Niners will take him because they have a general manager, they have an owner, it may not come down to Kyle and his dad, but they've made it known that that is the guy that they think is going to be the best of the options. Does that make you smile a little bit? What do you think of the Shanahans being so bold?
Well, it's kind of a conspiracy theory, but I do think that Mike Shanahan is the greatest brain right now behind the 49ers. He's just hiding in the shadows, and he's like the Dark Lord of the Sith.
Pretty much.
Speaking the truth to Kyle Shanahan, what to do and other things like that. But back to normal because it's just a conspiracy theory, and I like to play with my mind about that. Well, I do think that if they are doing that, that's a great tactic to increase the value of Mac Jones and decrease the value of the other guys behind Mac Jones. For example, Trey Lance and other guys like that. Because I do think that most of the league right now thinks that Kyle Shanahan is still an offensive genius. And when he says that Mac Jones is the greatest option for him at the 3rd pick, there are going to be teams who will be more interested in Mac Jones. And I do have some surprise scenarios in my head when interesting things will happen during the draft or could happen during the draft.
Well, we're going to get to there a little bit. We got to save that. But I just think it's so amazing that Kyle Shanahan has like his history is to go out on a limb and basically stake his reputation on mediocre quarterbacks, not mediocre starting quarterbacks. Like his whole career will be remembered for, aside the 2 losses in the Super Bowl, but his undying love for Kirk Cousins and his now newly blossoming affection for Mac Jones. I mean, really? Kirk Cousins and Mac Jones are your 2 favorite quarterbacks, the 2 guys that you're going to stake your reputation as a coach on? What, really? While you passed on Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and then this year it'll be a bunch of other guys too. So it's very on brand. It's very much in character. I think it's really cute that they keep repeating the same pattern. It's like whoever the rest of the league thinks is good, you're wrong, we're right, and we want to make a point of it. Not just take the guy where we could have. Let's trade up for him and take him unnecessarily high just to show how much conviction we have. I love that about the Shanahans because ultimately that's what's going to get them. I mean, it's what got Mike run out of the league. Mike was a very good offensive coordinator. He won 2 Super Bowls as a head coach. He got a lot of power in Denver, made a bunch of bad personnel decisions, and now he doesn't coach anymore. Kyle, he could do that to himself too. It would be too bad, but you've seen coaches do it.
Could be true. This could be a statement trade that Kyle Shanahan shows the world that whoever he thinks the best fits to his offense, he will do whatever it takes to take that guy. But if he does that, and after that, if he fails doing that, then he should be fired in the next 2 or 3 seasons, during the next 2 or 3 seasons. Because, well, we talked about it before. whoever we pick at the third pick of the draft, it's a reach. And I do think if we take Mac Jones, it's the greatest reach of all,
of all time.
to be honest, of all time, and it's just hilarious for me, but could happen. And
I just think it's funny how much people thought that Kyle changed. He hasn't changed. He still thinks he would have won that Super Bowl 2 years ago if Kirk Cousins was his quarterback, guaranteed. And now he gets to prove it by taking Kirk Cousins 2.0, maybe. Gotta love how stuck in his ways Kyle Shanahan is and how naive 49er fans were. They're like, you know what? He's lost to Patrick Mahomes. He's lost to Kyler Murray. Surely Kyle Shanahan has changed. The Niners have given him so much money. I mean, he has been reinforced every step of the way. The decisions he's made, he's not going to change. I mean, he's made $100 million or a fortune, whatever it is, doing things his way. He's not going to stop now. It's not going. He's been too reinforced. He's a genius, Botond. But here's the thing: Niner fans are already turning on him, and he hasn't even made the pick yet. I think it's quite amazing.
Yeah. I think that this is the thing that's making the situation around the 49ers right now really, really interesting, because in the past few years, Kyle Shanahan was invincible in the eyes of the 49ers fans. And I do think that with the wrong pick, things could change instantly with just these rumors that we won't pick Justin Fields, and we take, for example, Mac Jones instead. Wow, I'm just waiting for that. I'm just waiting for that. That could be the greatest thing to happen in the cucumber season right now.
Real quick, before we move on, I put out a poll this morning saying to Niner fans, would you rather the Niners let Kyle Shanahan draft Mac Jones or trade Kyle Shanahan right now and draft Justin Fields? 3-1 Niner fans said trade Shanahan right now and draft Justin Fields. So Kyle, hey, all I'm going to say is I don't think the Niners are going to draft Mac Jones. I still don't. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know if you have seen my picture on Twitter when I was tweeting about Kyle Shanahan that before the pick and after the pick, that after the pick he says that oh man, he picks Mac Jones, of course, and he says that, oh man, the risk was calculated, but damn, bad at math. Like that.
I like that. Frank says Mac at 3 ain't sexy. He will have so much on his shoulders, it'll be tough. Trey or Fields have to be at 3. Only chance, I believe. Frank, let's talk. Let's talk about Trey Lance. He's the other finalist. According to reports, Trey Lance is the guy that the scouting department wants. That's John Lynch, Adam Peters, all the scouts. We don't know who Jed York wants. Maybe he's staying out of this. Thoughts on the Niners being split and it basically being the entire organization against Kyle and his dad, and pretty much the entire organization being united behind Trey Lance. What do you think?
Well, first of all, Jed York wants the guy who will produce more money. And if you are talking about this aspect of the quarterback situation right now, I'm pretty sure that Jed York just wants Trey Lance. Or
anyone but Mac Jones, because Mac Jones is toxic in terms of you can't market him. No one wants to see his face. No one wants to hear his name. Anyway, keep going.
Yep. Well, Trey Lance, I really like Trey Lance. I do think that he has the greatest upside right now. I do think that he has the greatest potential from this quarterback that we have talked about in the past few weeks. And the guy is just great. He may have some problems with the short balls. I've mentioned that before, but I do think that's a thing that you can just repair with some great coaching. Do we have a great coaching staff for the quarterback position? Because I'm not sure, but it can be coached into the right direction. And he's great at the long balls. He has great release time. He's athletic. He is the greatest, the strongest. And I do think that one of the smartest quarterback prospects right now who are going to the draft. I prefer him over Mac Jones in the long term. But there's a huge chance that he will be a bust as well. There's a great chance that he can be a bust, but he could have the greatest upside from these guys.
I think he's also, I prefer him to Mac Jones. And, people, I've been making a big point about the reps. It's important. You only improve by playing. But look, hold on. Reps aren't the end all be all here. We're not trying to draft the most experienced quarterback. If that were the case, you just take the guy with the most starts. It's not that simple here. It's very difficult to scout quarterbacks. And I think what we're trying to do, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're trying to find the quarterback with the most natural ability, the stuff you can't coach. And the thing that makes it tough when you talk about natural ability in quarterbacks is athleticism is only a fraction of it. When you talk natural ability with quarterbacks, athleticism, arm strength, that stuff is only a fraction. Other stuff is like intelligence, maturity, drive, decision-making, judgment, all that other stuff. And I feel like people don't really talk about that very much. So with Trey Lance, I think he's got it all. He's got all the natural ability, not just athleticism. He's got all that other intangible stuff that I think Justin Fields doesn't have, at least the judgment part. Just the ability to make cool-headed, smart decisions under pressure during the game without the coach telling you what to do. It's rare. I think Trey Lance can do it. Yeah, he didn't play that much, but when he did play, he was freaking awesome. I mean, 28 touchdowns, 0 picks. Not a lot of people do that. No matter where they are, what the circumstances are. None of the other North Dakota State quarterbacks have ever done anything like that. So I do think he actually has a ton of upside, and maybe the downside's overstated. I mean, how could that kind of an athlete with that kind of maturity and intelligence and decision-making really fail if he's that driven? I mean, I guess if he gets drafted by a bad team, but that's not the Niners.
Yeah.
So
you said it all. I mean, I don't think that there's any other thing we could say about just Trey Lance, because I do think that out of these 3 guys, there's nothing that could stop me from picking him, because I do think that he is the best prospect out of them.
Yeah. So let's think about it this way. Is it possible Kyle backs down and lets the scouting department make this pick?
No, absolutely no way.
I disagree, Botond. Let's hold on. You might be right, but let's think about it from the other perspective. He didn't want Jimmy Garoppolo. He wanted Kirk Cousins, and then he said, "Okay, fine. All right, John, fine, have it your way." And then when Jimmy played well, he took credit. But when Jimmy didn't play well, it was always known that Kyle didn't really want him, and that was John's guy. Also in Washington, he didn't have power. He was the offensive coordinator, but he made it known he didn't want RG3. I think it's kind of in his character for him and his dad to be like, you know what, we like Mac Jones, but then at the very end to be like, okay, I trust John. I trust my scouts. I just want it on record that I disagree, but I'm going to go along with you guys. That way, if Trey Lance fails, you can't blame Kyle. You gotta fire John. And if Trey Lance works out, then Kyle's a genius. Kyle's the greatest. Kyle made it happen. Kyle was the quarterback whisperer. But if it doesn't work out, Kyle is on record. It's known that Kyle Shanahan preferred Mac Jones. Isn't that kind of how he operates, man? He never weds himself to a quarterback completely.
Well, there's one thing, a single thing, in which I have seen some improvement from Kyle Shanahan. There was a game this season when the play calling was poor, quarterback play was poor, offensive line play was poor, everything was poor, to be honest. And Kyle Shanahan said that we must improve in every aspect of the game, including myself. That was the first time when the
first time, yeah,
like the plays were there.
Yeah,
that was the first time. So I do think that there's maybe some personal improvement in Kyle Shanahan right now, but I can't see it coming that he will say that, okay, guys, so we will draft Trey Lance just because if we fail, I want to blame you. I do think that he understands and feels right now that he could be in a hot seat in the next few seasons if he cannot get some playoff appearances.
I just feel like he gotta know that if he takes Mac Jones, he puts himself on the hot seat right now. Right, he's on the hot seat before he's taken them. Niner fans are ready to run him out of town, and I feel like he doesn't need to do that. Like what he could say is, "Look, it's very unpopular if I take Mac Jones. I'm almost setting the kid up for failure because fans will be so hard on him. The entire organization's against it. Instead of putting my neck out there so drastically, with no one backing me up other than my dad, who doesn't even work here, what I could do is give in and say, you know what, John, you're the GM. I trust you. So I'm not going to overrule the entire staff. I trust you, but let it be known that I disagree with you. And I'm going to make it work. I like Trey Lance. I prefer Mac Jones. I'm going to do this for the best of the organization, but you cannot hold me responsible for this if it doesn't work out. It just seems like something he would do. Man, I don't know.
Could happen.
I'm a conspiracy theorist like that, though. Joshua says, is it possible Mac hype is all about the Patriots? It's impossible to get a Jimmy deal done before the draft if Bill thinks he can still get Mac. That's possible. I don't know. I always think the Patriots are the team that drafts a quarterback in round 3. You know, they're going to get Davis Mills. Bet.
Well, if there's a team which is drafting great in the later rounds, which manages talent really great, that's the New England Patriots, and it's just because of Bill Belichick. I don't think that he will buy that. So no way this could happen, in my opinion.
If Kyle picks Jones, does that give Lynch a chance to outlast Shanahan with the 49ers? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is why I think the Niners are going to take Trey Lance. Kyle's not going to do that to himself. It's career suicide potentially. You're taking on way too much risk. There's no reason to do that to yourself. Just take the guy that John Lynch wants and make it known that it's not your guy. You're going to give it a shot. You like him anyway. But it's John's call. You're the GM, buddy. I just think that's the prudent play if you're trying to make sure that you don't get fired. Because Mac Jones just puts a target on your back that you don't need. Yeah. Anthony Adams says, Anthony Adams, huh? Are we talking Spice Adams here? Have you paid close attention to Mac and Jack interview? He's goofy, immature, dorky. Lance is stoic, serious, but charismatic. Franchise all over him. Yeah, Mac's he's a little McCorkly. And Lance, his attitude, his whole story, his maturity reminds me of Fred Warner. Wise beyond his years, grown up beyond his years. It's got that Fred Warner vibe, really smart, the kind of guy who's going to improve leaps and bounds in a short period of time. All right. Yeah. All right. Last hypothetical. So, again, everyone's assuming that Zach Wilson goes number 2 and the Niners make this decision between Mac Jones and Trey Lance. But there's still a possibility that the Jets make the right call. Because in my opinion, Zach Wilson should not be the number 2 pick. I don't think he's the second best quarterback in this draft. I like Trey Lance better than Zach Wilson. You know, I might even prefer Mac Jones. Let's just put it this way. Let's say the Jets take Trey Lance, Kyle Pitts, Justin Fields, anyone other than Zach Wilson. Do you think the Niners will shock everyone and take Zach Wilson?
No, absolutely no way.
Why?
Wow. The biggest flaws with Zach Wilson right now is that he hasn't played a great team. When he played the top 25 team during his college career, he is 2-4.
I think 2-5. I could be wrong.
2-5, sorry.
Either way is bad. It's not good.
Yeah. And remember when this season he played against the Coastal Carolinas defense, which was maybe in the top 20 in the country. When I will analyze every aspect of the game, he struggled as well. And he will have way harder time in the NFL against NFL defenses. That's why I'm pretty sure that Kai doesn't want a guy who just can't solve these problems with these defenses himself. He's a great guy. He has some wonderful, great throws, intermediate levels as well. He's great when throwing the balls to mid-distance, but he's not that great. Not that great. I don't mind that he's worth the second or the third pick this NFL draft. I prefer Trey Lance. We should draft him. I don't think that we will draft Zach Wilson. I don't see a scenario when we are going to draft Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson scares me. Everyone compares him to Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, who are guys who want to throw like 50 times a game. Zach Wilson wants to run as much as he wants to throw. He's much more of a dual threat in terms of his style, which is cool. But when you talk about, dual threat quarterbacks who have long-term success, look at him, man. He's not that big. He's not that athletic. When he gets in the NFL, he's going to look more like Johnny Manziel than you want to admit. And then you got Trey Lance, who's going to look like Josh Allen. If we're talking about guys who really want to run, I'm scared about Zach Wilson's whole, frame. Compare him to Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond's about the same size, a little bit more athletic, a little bit stronger arm, and he's not trying to run around as much as Zach Wilson. No. He's protecting himself, protecting the ball. He's much more mature. Zach Wilson's like, I can do whatever I want. And yeah, you can do whatever you want at BYU, but in the NFL, you're going to get yourself in trouble. I don't really trust him. I think that I would put Trey Lance over Zach Wilson on my big board. And I might even put Mac Jones over him too. I think Zach Wilson is going to have problems with injuries in the NFL.
Yeah. Just I don't know if you remember first time when we have talked about Zach Wilson, everybody was like they fell in love with Zach Wilson.
I do remember. You didn't like him at all.
And the first thing that I said about him that he had some injuries with his throwing shoulder. Yep. And when he wants to run the ball as much as he does, he will have some more injuries on his throwing shoulder. I'm pretty sure. And
what did Kyler Murray hurt this year?
One more time, please.
What did Kyler Murray hurt this year? His shoulder. To me, Zach Wilson is like Kyler Murray light. He watches Kyler Murray highlights. He says, I want to do that too. And he does his best to do it at BYU, but he's not fast like Kyler Murray. He doesn't have an arm like Kyler Murray, and he's going to get himself. I mean, Kyler Murray gets in trouble playing like Kyler Murray. What's going to happen to Zach Wilson? Also, with Kyler Murray and guys like Lamar Jackson, they have success early on. What's Kyler Murray going to play like when he's 34? Is he going to be good when he, you know what I mean? I mean, you're trying to draft a guy that's going to be your quarterback when he's 37, the way that Big Ben was, you know? Not just a guy who's good for 5 years. So I don't know about these dual threat quarterbacks. That's how I view Zach Wilson, a dual threat. And the thing that's cool about Trey Lance, he kind of plays like, I know he runs a lot, but he kind of plays like a quarterback who's mobile, not a dual threat. I mean, he checks down, he goes through his reads.
He's a pass first quarterback.
I think he's a pass first quarterback too. Anyway, moving along. Enough quarterbacks. Day 2 prospects. Who are your favorite ones?
Well, I have 2 actually.
Okay.
You know that I prefer picking a guard in the second round.
Yes.
And I found a great guy, Wyatt Davis. He was the teammate of Justin Fields.
Yes.
He's a great guy. He has a great size. He's an excellent pass protector. He's a great run blocker as well. The only reason why people are concerned about him is his wingspan, which is not so great at all for an offensive guard. But I do think that he may be worth late first rounder, but I do think that he will just find himself on the second day of the draft, and the Niners should consider drafting him because that guy just great. And if we are going to draft Justin Fields, I'm pretty sure that we have to draft an offensive lineman, which he knows. Because we all know that the 49ers offensive line right now is looks great when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch talks about it, but it's not so great at all.
No, it's not. I also like Quinn Miners. It's another offensive lineman that could be there in round 2. He played really well at the Senior Bowl. He's a small school guy, Division II guy, but really athletic. That's another guy if they want to go interior offensive line in round 2. Quinn Miners. That's 2. Wyatt Davis, Quinn Miner. I like that. Okay, anyone else?
Yeah. Ifeatu Melifonwu. I'm sorry.
Melifonwu. I think his older brother's on the Niners right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. 6'3" dude who could replace Kello.
I'm pretty sure that that guy could be a great ball hawk in the NFL if he got coached well. He can just be the next Richard Sherman if we take time and try to develop him as a cornerback, because right now he is not a natural player. There's a lot of artificial moves, which I do think is because he hasn't been coached really great during the college years, but he's smart. He's really smart. He knows where the ball, where QBs deliver balls. He attacks the balls first, and then the man who is trying to catch the ball. He has huge potential with the right coaching staff. He will be available in the 3rd round, maybe in the 4th as well. I do think that for this team, which needs a corner right now, we should consider drafting him.
Yeah, it seems like he could end up being the player the Niners wanted Ahkello Witherspoon to be.
Yeah.
They definitely want a big corner. They need a corner. They want a big one. They don't have any. They have Dante Johnson, who's not special teams player. He's not a corner.
Yeah.
They have Mosley, who's their biggest corner at 5'11", and Jason Verrett, who's 5'9", good player. But no one really matches up with DK Metcalf. We saw Mosley try. It's not even fair. This guy, Melifonwu, could. So good call. I like him too. Anyone else?
Well, I always forgetting his name. The slot receiver from Florida Gators.
Oh, Kadarius Toney. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's terrific.
I think that he is my favorite guy from the second day of the draft. He's just amazing. But I do think that this team has way more needs right now than just drafting him. So even though I like him, and I would be really, really happy if we would draft him, I don't think that we will draft him.
I got one more name for you. You mentioned Kadarius Toney. I like Kadarius Toney. But there's one more guy that I want to bring up because I feel like we're looking for a Kendrick Bourne replacement. The guy who could catch a Hail Mary. The guy who makes ridiculous catches because he's a little bit bigger and he's got great hand-eye coordination.
Yeah,
that's not Toney.
No,
I like Toney. Tony's Debo. Tony's more like Debo and Ayuk because he's terrific.
Yeah.
But there's another guy on Florida who, whenever he played, remind me of Bourne, and it just clicked in my mind right now. Trevon Grimes. Yeah. He's 6'4". He's 220. He's got long arms. He's got big hands, and he ran a 4.51 and a 4.49. His 3-cone was 6.98. He's quick. He's big. I think he's a lot like Kendrick Bourne, and if you remember the game against Alabama, he caught that touchdown pass over Patrick Surtain up the sideline.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing about him is we are not seeing right now really often NFL receivers doing that, but he uses his whole body when he tries to make catches. He's a little monster when he tries to catch the ball. He is really physical. He attacks the ball, which is really important for a wide receiver.
Just like Bourne does.
Yeah, but he does it better. I do think
he's 6'4".
Yeah,
he's 6'4", 220. He's faster than Bourne. He's a hell of a player. I don't know why it took me this long to figure it out. Yeah, if the Niners can get Trevon, where's he supposed to go? I don't even know. Anyway, that's probably someone the Niners would like. Played in the Senior Bowl, played well. Hey, we just had an epiphany. That was fun. All right, what are some draft day trades? Do you think Niners?
Bless you.
Dang, thanks, man. Let me try that again. Some draft day trades the Niners could pull off potentially. Think.
Well, I have a pretty interesting scenario.
Okay.
I do think that the Falcons could be interested in drafting Mac Jones or Justin Fields. What if they do that and they try to trade up for those guys and we are there? We know that. I do think that we know that who the other teams are going to draft during this draft, and we trade down a bit, and we are taking Trey Lance there. I think that's a great scenario. Maybe we can involve Matt Ryan and Jimmy Garoppolo into that trade scenario. Maybe those two veteran quarterbacks can switch places between these teams, and if that happens, I do think that we have a really great veteran quarterback who was successful with Kyle Shanahan's system and who knows Kyle Shanahan's system, and we are going to get a great guy who can be a really great NFL player, and we have a great bridge quarterback in the person of Matt Ryan as well. I think that could happen. Somehow I have that feeling in my head that this may happen during the draft.
The Niners move down one spot and pick up Matt Ryan in the deal.
Yeah.
I like it. Here's the thing. I look at it the other way. I always thought that the Falcons were looking more to trade down because their defense is so bad. But look, they could stay there. But let's say they wanted to trade down instead of up. Well, the Niners moving ahead of them and potentially taking Mac Jones has got to be the best news ever for the Falcons, because they're looking there like, man, we want to trade down, but who's going to want to trade up for Mac Jones? Or now it's like, oh my God, we can auction off Justin Fields, like the right to pick Justin Fields. All of a sudden, we got a lotto ticket. They must be so happy right now. That's all I'm thinking. So look, that's neither here nor there. McGlinchey could be a draft day trade. Garoppolo could be a draft day trade. The Niners have 7 picks on day 3. They could move up into day 2 because not all those day 3 picks are going to make the team. I think they're going to trade around.
Yeah. I think that the draft day is going to be really, really interesting in the first round. We will see a lot of things happening around the 49ers. I have that feeling right now.
Do you think Jimmy Garoppolo will be on this team the next time we do a show?
No.
Whew. I'm asking everyone this question. Everyone's saying no.
I'm really not thinking that right now.
Uh-oh. What'd you say? I lost you.
I'm really not thinking that right now.
Okay. Here's the thing. If they draft Trey Lance, I think they're going to keep Jimmy. That's the way I look. And I think they're going to draft Trey Lance. So we'll see. Jimmy, I hope you're there.
We'll see.
Jimmy, I haven't seen you in a long time, man. I miss you, Jimmy. All right, last topic. We mentioned it a little bit, but Mike McGlinchey, the deadline to pick his 5th-year option is like in a week. You think they'll pick it up?
Well, it happened during this offseason, and I'm not surprised it happened again. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are great when they try to hide what they what they really want to do. I do think that it was a smokescreen that Mike McGlinchey is our guy. He's a really great offensive tackle. We've heard that in the offseason that there are teams who are interested in Mike McGlinchey. Don't do that.
You don't, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that as you mentioned with the previous topic, that we will just trade him during the draft.
Yeah,
and we'll try to pick another guy into offensive tackle position, or we move Daniel Brunskill into offensive tackle because I do think that he was great at right tackle position 2 years ago in our Super Bowl year when there was no Joe Staley or Mike McGlinchey because both of them were injured. And we will draft an offensive guard. If I remember well, I mentioned somebody who I really like at the position. So that would be a dream scenario for me.
I just don't see why they would pick up his 5th-year option. Like, if it's always thought that the 5th-year option was built into a rookie contract for like the good ones, like the good players who you feel like, hey, if we don't pick up this rookie option, we're going to have to pay you a ton of money. We're going to have to give you that second contract now and a huge signing bonus. And this is actually a good deal for us. This saves us money. In what world is Mike McGlinchey worth $10 million for 1 year? I mean, nothing against Mike. And Mike, I hope you rebound. And you might. But you were never worth $10 million a year. And last year, you were worth like the vet min. So I just don't see why it's in the Niners, why it makes financial sense for them to give him $10 million. Like, you might keep him, but you don't have to. You could just re-sign him to another deal that pays him like $3 million a year, something like that. Give him an extension now that pays him the vet min for the next 10 years. I think that would be more fair than giving him $10 million. I just don't see why they would do that. You don't have to. What's his value on the open market? $350,
maybe
$375, $10.
To be honest, it just maybe there are some Hungarian teams which could be interested in Mike McGlinchey right now. But
what's the team that the coach we interviewed is coaching?
The Entroners of Fehérvár.
There you go, Mike. They want to draft an offensive tackle in the second. Calling it now. Possible.
Could be a possibility. Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, I think we got a surprise in store for Mike McGlinchey. I just don't think they're going to ride him. Remember, they asked Kyle Shanahan, like, "Are you going to pick up Mike McGlinchey's 5th-year option?" He never said yes. He was like,
"Yeah,
is that coming up?" Oh, I forget. Well, yeah, I don't know why we wouldn't. Yeah, Mike's going to be around. But he didn't say yeah. So maybe they're going to be like, "Yeah, we'll offer Mike a little extension, but we're not giving him $10 million for 1 year." I mean. Why would we do that? I don't think so, man. If they did, that it would just be like the most charitable thing the 49ers have done all year. I mean, they should. Yeah. It's just that's straight charity. Yeah. Hey, Botond, thanks a lot for coming on. Late night, always appreciate it, man.
Thank
yes.
you.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Shanahan and Lynch are talking in 2 hours. So I'll be back after that. Stay tuned.
See you guys.
See ya.